So let me get this straight. The villain in this DreamWorks sequel is a peacock, and Universal owns DreamWorks now. Universal has this streaming service named Peacock, and DreamWorks made a straight to Peacock movie called Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate, which is an abomination. So that means Lord Chen is responsible for destroying Megamind by making that horrendous sequel. Oh, I get it now. It was Lord Shen who did it, not the director or anyone else. It's clearly Lord Shen's responsibility for making Megamind total. Okay, well, on to the review. Hey guys, this is Frozen Pink Stews here, and welcome back to another Kung Fu Panda review leading up to Kung Fu Panda 4. And today, I am going to be doing a review on Kung Fu Panda 2. So Kung Fu Panda 2 is the second installment in the Kung Fu Panda quadrilogy and is directed by Jennifer Yu Nelson, and it stars once again Jack Black, Angelina Jolie, Dustin Hoffman, Jackie Chan, Lucy Liu, Seth Rogen, David Cross, James Hong, and added to the cast are Gary Oldman, Michelle Yeoh and Danny McBride. And so basically Kung Fu Panda 4 sorry my bad. Kung Fu Panda 2 tells the story of Po, who is now the Dragon Warrior and wants to protect the Valley of Peace. Po's Dragon Warrior now, and he wants to find his inner peace. Like, he still hasn't fully found his inner peace yet. And then one day he discovers, this symbol that reminded him of, when his family put him in the basket and how he got adopted. So we the audiences learn about Po's origins, that he got adopted by his dad. His dad found him in a radish basket and decided to take him, adopt him as his son and raise him to grow up. But Po knows that there's more to his origin story than that, and he wants to find his inner peace by knowing his origin. But one day this evil peacock lord named Lord Shen wants to destroy China using this invention of the canon. Canon, and he wants to end all of Kung Fu. So Po and End of Years 5 are sent to China. I forgot the name of the place where Shen is, where they all went to, and the entire second half of the movie took place. And I forgot. If you guys remember the name, please let me know down in the comment. I can't remember the name. So they go to that part of China to search for Lord Shen and stop him. But Lord Shen is way too powerful and defeats Po. And then you got the soothsayer, who is basically the female version of Oogway. So the soothsayer knows about the Po and Shen's connection. So but apparently Po doesn't know about it. So the soothsayer is the one who taught Po his origin story, his real origin story, and turns out Shen is a huge part of it. And so now that Po finds out he has some sort of connection with Shen, they both face off against each other as Po finally finds his inner peace, and he defeats he must defeat Lord Shen and save all of China and Kung Fu. So that's where do I even get started with this film? Let me get started by saying many people I know consider this to be the best Kung Fu Panda movie. Period. I mean, every time when people think about Kung Fu Panda, they think of this one as the best. And honestly, to be honest, I did not know this movie was praised enough. Because why? Because this actually has the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score in the franchise. The first film got like an 87%. The third film got an 86%. And apparently, the third film got a higher rating than this, and this one is like 81%. So it's like So I looked at Rotten Tomatoes. I was like thinking, oh yeah, people. I think people call this their least favorite. Their least favorite. And however, you know how I actually found out that this was actually the fan favorite film in the Kung Fu Panda franchise. It was through Animat. I mean, Animat was praising this movie to death. I remember watching Animat's review of it, and he was praising the movie to death and gave it a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10, and yeah, 9 out of 10. And I scrolled through the comments, and apparently they all agreed with Animat that Kung Fu Panda 2 is the best Kung Fu Panda movie. And I started seeing all these comments of people and Letterboxd reviews all saying that this is the best one right here. That was back in like 2018, I think. Yeah, I haven't really seen this film throughout the entire 2010s decade ever since I saw it in theaters, and I think I rewatched it in like 2012, 2013 or something like that. But for like the latter half of the 2010s decade, I never got around to rewatching this. But when I rewatched this movie in 2020, I was like, oh, now I get why people consider this the best Kung Fu Panda movie ever. And it has always been my favorite ever since then. But yeah, but I mean, how do I say this? But yet now I rewatched this movie again, and let me ask you all: does Kung Fu Panda 2 hold up as the best Kung Fu Panda movie? All I gotta say is, hell freaking yes. Kung Fu Panda 2 holds up well as the best Kung Fu Panda movie ever made, period. And honestly, I'm gonna admit, yeah, considering how much I love the first film, when I was like watching the first couple of minutes of this movie, like the first act, I honestly got worried that this was not going to hold up as the best Kung Fu Panda movie because, like, like toward the beginning, I was like saying to myself, this is the best Kung Fu Panda movie. This is better. I know it is. But a part of me was like, is this? A part of me was getting worried, like, oh no, is this not going to hold up? Am I actually going to end up calling the first one the best? Because I really was rooting for this film to stay as the best Kung Fu Panda movie because of how good it is. And I know it seems like me just trying to have the popular opinion, like everybody says it's the best Kung Fu Panda movie, so I should be too. Like it seemed like I may look like I'm that type of person, but actually there is a good reason as to why this is considered the best Kung Fu Panda movie, and this is my personal favorite Kung Fu Panda movie. Yeah, there are certainly no flaws to this movie whatsoever. So yeah, let's get into the great stuff. Great stuff. Where do I even get started with this? Yeah, I will admit I don't have as much to say about this as the first film because pretty much everyone has said everything that needed to be said about this one. So yeah, I hope I'm wrong though. I hope I can just save a little bit more because if you notice in my videos, sometimes I'd say, oh, this is not going to be a long video, but it ends up being longer than I expected. So yeah, yeah, and okay, where do I even get started? Yeah, let's start with what everyone loves about the film. The fact that this is a darker, deeper, and more mature film than anything else in this franchise. Yeah, sure, it got its comedic bits right there, but it's actually not as funny as the first film, and it's sort of a compliment because sometimes I prefer movies to be serious rather than funny, and I love how serious this movie is. It may have its funny moments, but when it gets serious, this movie goes absolutely hard, and I mean really hard, as it really dives deep into Poe's backstory, and throughout the movie, he has like so much philosophical questions. The movie asks a lot of philosophical questions about where do you come from, and all that stuff. And yeah, this movie pretty much just wait, where do I say this? Yeah, literally, this movie Poe learns about his origin throughout this movie. As he searches for his. Sorry, I'm lost. But okay, back to what I was saying. Yeah, sorry, I got a little distracted there. But But yeah, this movie also has such a great message of that. It's not just post search for its origin that makes this movie special. But it is the message of the movie, the message that your origin shouldn't define who you are. You may not, and like what a quote in this movie says, you may not have a happy beginning, but you can make your own happy ending because it's your choice. Yeah, basically, what that means is that you had a terrible childhood, but that should not define who you are now. Yeah, and I know a lot of people who had a terrible childhood, and that kind of like affected their life now as an adult. But that's not me personally. I mean, I had a terrible childhood, like I don't even want to talk about. But now, I've changed personally. I mean, I went from just watching nothing but animated and family movies to now just becoming a cinephile and watching cinephile movies, watching different kinds. And I know some people who became a cinephile when they were like 7 or 8 years old. I mean, but that kind of makes you question how do some people have that kind of mindset? That is something. Yeah, I was just a dumb kid at the time, but now I'm like I grew up to be really smart. But yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I've seen. We may have seen a lot of stories like this before. Stories about characters trying to find their origin story, and like they don't know where they come from. They don't know their identity, and they search for it. So yeah, yeah, sure. So on paper, the whole idea of Poe trying to search for his identity, maybe done to death. But how is it executed here is they did it in such a deep and even emotional way. Yeah, and yeah, the scene when Poe was doing his inner peace thing in the village to pretty much find his memory. He sees a vision of his past. Of his past, and he found out that Lord Shen was involved. Yeah, that was probably my favorite scene in the entire film. Like, seeing how tragic Poe's backstory actually is, and the fact that Lord Shen actually killed him. That scene went really hard, and not gonna lie, I did shed a tear in that scene. Yeah, I mean, it's just so beautiful, and even the score. Yeah, if you thought Hans Zimmer's score in the first one was magnificent, oh boy, wait till you hear the score in this one right here. This one right here. I mean, oh boy. Oh boy. I mean, the score in this one, woo, it is beautiful, and it really hit me. It really hit me really hard, and yeah, sure, it's not one of the Hans Zimmer's best scores. I mean, I don't consider the Kung Fu Panda films to be among Hans Zimmer's greatest scores ever, but damn, it goes hard with this one. I still think Kung Fu Panda 3 has my favorite score in the entire franchise. I'll explain why in my Kung Fu Panda 3 review. So yeah, post character arcs there. And also, let's talk about my favorite Kung Fu Panda character of all time, Lord Shen. And I gotta say, he freaking holds up as my favorite Kung Fu Panda character ever. I mean, yeah, sure, he may just be such a peacock. He may be just a peacock, and he looks weaker than Tai Lung when it comes to his appearance. But Lord Shen he's so powerful and menacing. He really feels like a real threat. I mean, Tai Lung seems like one of those redeemable villains, and I love redeemable story. People say that he could actually redeem himself in the fourth film. Well, could he? Yeah, but in the first film, you can clearly see that Tai Lung would back it down during him and Poe's fight. Like, you can clearly see that sense some redemption in him. But when it comes to Lord Shen, oh boy, he does not back down. He is just pure evil from start to finish. There is nothing redemptive about him whatsoever, and that's a cool villain too. And he actually has character development. He has character development. He, just like Poe, he also had a tragic backstory where his family abandoned him. where yeah, his parents abandoned him because his true dark nature can be seen, and all that stuff. And all that stuff. Yeah, his backstory, like you really feel sympathy for him, but he wouldn't really back down. Would back down, and man, he is such a peacock sucker, and I'm saying that as a compliment because, if a villain pisses me off in because of how evil he does and what he or she does, then that's honestly a huge W because they're a huge W because how do I say this? They're a huge W because well, how do I say this? Yeah, because villains are supposed to be evil. You're supposed to hate the villain. So when you don't feel hatred towards a villain, unless if it's sympathy, if you don't feel anything other than hate and sympathy, then there is something wrong. There was something wrong with the villain, in your own personal opinion, and maybe mine. And maybe mine. And also, I love how the Furious Five got far more major involvement than the first and third. In the first and third film, the Furious in the first one, the Furious Five surprisingly had less screen time than I thought. I thought that they were gonna have like full time screen time, but a lot of the times they were off screen. Like they didn't really, they were there a lot, but they didn't really contribute a lot to the story, other than just to they didn't contribute as a lot as I thought. And most of the time it was just focused on Poe and Shifu. But in this film, we actually got to see Poe and the Furious Five actually team up with each other. With each other. Yeah. It's just really nice to see them together, like work together. And they actually have great chemistry with each other. In the first and third film, the Poe and the Furious Five were like separated. They did not work together. They barely worked together. But in the second film, seeing them work together is actually one thing that makes this movie worthwhile. The animation is probably the best. I do think Kung Fu Panda 4 has potential to have the best to be the best looking and most stunning Kung Fu Panda film. But right now it's this one. I mean, it has so much creativity, especially with the 2D animation sequences. Like in the first one, when they explain in the intro where they explain the Lord Shen's origin story, man, they animated that scene in such a creative way. Yeah, and also that those 2D animated scenes with the flashback, I love how they use the 2D animation for a flashback. That is brilliant right there. But the main reason, out of all the aspects of the film, besides the deep and emotional, masterful storytelling, like brilliant character development and great animation, and the fact that this movie is enjoyable from start to finish, my favorite aspect of the film is the action scenes. So, oh boy, this movie literally has non-stop action, and that is something you would not expect in an animated film, let alone in an animated family film like this. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, Kung Fu Panda is meant to be action-packed, but most of the time they have like at least 3 action scenes. Yeah, they wouldn't really focus on action, but I love how this one is so focused on the action scenes. Yeah, there is so much action here. Like, there's so much action here. Yeah, I mean, even like, yeah, even from some of the light-hearted action in the first act, and then but the action scene just keeps getting better and better and better from here. My personal favorite action scene would be when the Furious Five were like when the tower was collapsing, and then the Furious Five had to like run at the roof and then jump. Yeah, that was the standout action scene in the film. And let me tell you all, they raised the stakes really high. Does this have the best action scenes in any DreamWorks movie? Not really. It's not as good as the How to Train a Dragon action scenes, not as good as the Mega Mind action scenes, and especially the Rise of the Guardians action scenes. But the fact that this has the most action scenes in a DreamWorks movie, the most amount and quantity, That says something. And boy, the final battle went really hard, I gotta tell you. Yeah, so overall, Kung Fu Panda 2 is a masterpiece. And yeah, this is certainly one of the absolute best DreamWorks movie. Yeah, it's not the best. I would put Rise of the Guardians, Prince of Egypt, and the two Shrek movies over this one. But honestly, I gotta say, I honestly prefer this over the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. The entire How to Train Your Dragon movies. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I still think How to Train Your Dragon is the best DreamWorks franchise, but Panda 2 tops the trilogy in my opinion. Yeah. And this is the best animated film of 2011 easily. Sorry, Tintin and Rango. So with that said, I'm going to give Kung Fu Panda 2 a 5 out of 5 stars. Masterpiece movie. Yeah, man. I honestly forgot about how good this movie is. Can't believe I left this on my top 5. Yeah. So yeah, spoiler alert, this would be at number 4 in my DreamWorks, in my best DreamWorks movies list. So that's all for my review of Kung Fu Panda 2. What are your thoughts on the movie? Would you agree with me that this is the best Kung Fu Panda movie? Or do you still think the first, or are you one of those people who still thinks the first is better? Because I know some people who think the first Kung Fu Panda is still the best. Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review on Kung Fu Panda 3. Bye guys.